Microsoft has launched the new Surface Laptop 13-inch at a price that's $100 cheaper than the Surface Laptop 7, now called the Surface Laptop 13.8-inch. But what are you missing out on to save that $100? And is it worth it? Let's find out. Let's start with the most obvious difference, the smaller display. The Surface Laptop 13-inch, unsurprisingly, has a 13-inch size, 6% smaller than the 13.8-inch model. The 13-inch display's resolution and pixel density are both lower, at 178 ppi versus 201 ppi for the 13.8-inch model. The 13-inch display is listed at 400 nits of brightness, while Microsoft doesn't say what the 13.8-inch display's brightness is, but does list it as HDR. If it's comparable to the Surface Pro 11, then it would be at 600 nits. There's some other features missing, including the vivid color profile, auto color management, Dolby Vision IQ, and the strengthened glass display is probably not as tough as Corning Gorilla Glass 5. However, the final important difference is that the 13-inch display's refresh rate is only 60 Hz, while the 13.8-inch is 120 Hz. Heading to the heart of the machines, the Surface Laptop 13-inch has an 8-core Snapdragon X Plus chip, which is 20% fewer cores than the 13.8-inch model's X Plus. That means multi-core performance could be up to 20% less as well. Both the 13-inch and 13.8-inch models come with 16GB of memory by default, though the 13-inch can't go any higher, while the 13.8-inch can be upgraded all the way up to 64GB. For storage, they also both come with 256GB by default, and the 13-inch can go up to 512GB for only $100 more, while the 13.8-inch can go up to 1TB, but at a cost of $200 more per upgrade level. The 13.8-inch model storage is also faster as it uses NVMe rather than UFS on the 13-inch, but exact speed differences would require some benchmarks. The front webcam on the Surface Laptop 13-inch seems to be missing support for teleprompter and portrait blur features, unless it was just an omission. The 13-inch model also doesn't have Windows Hello Face Authentication, providing a fingerprint power button instead. There doesn't seem to be much difference in the audio department, although the dual studio mics on the Surface Laptop 13-inch boast enhanced voice focus versus the regular voice focus on the 13.8-inch, whatever that means. When it comes to ports, the Surface Laptop 13-inch has 2 USB-C ports at 10 gigabit per second speeds, also known as USB 3.2, while the 13.8-inch model's 2 USB-C ports are USB 4 or 40 gigabit per second speeds. Both models also come with 1 USB-A port, but the 13-inch has it at USB 3.1 or 5 gigabit per second speed, while the 13.8-inch has it at USB 3.2 or 10 gigabit per second speed. The biggest difference is that the 13-inch model no longer has the Surface Connect charging port, which means you'll need to use up one of the USB ports for charging. Speaking of charging, the Surface Laptop 13-inch includes a USB-C charging cable and a 45-watt USB-C wall charger, which is actually higher than the 13.8-inch model's 39-watt power supply. Both models support fast charging, though the 13-inch achieves this at 60 watts, while the 13.8-inch does so at 65 watts. The reason for this could be that the Surface Laptop 13-inch has a battery size of 50 watt-hours, while the 13.8-inch has a 54 watt-hour battery. That means the battery is 7% smaller on the 13-inch than the 13.8-inch, but claimed battery life is actually 3 hours or up to 23% more on the 13-inch. That's likely due to the smaller display, among other things. When it comes to size, the Surface Laptop 13-inch's length is 5% smaller, width is 3% smaller, while the height or thickness is 12% thinner. As a result, the weight is also 9% less at only 2.7 pounds versus 2.96 pounds. The cost of the Surface Laptop 13-inch starts at $900, while the Surface Laptop 13.8-inch starts at $1,000, but Microsoft doesn't seem to be selling that model anymore on its store, instead offering the $1,200 version with storage upgraded to 512GB as the lowest cost one. This might be to differentiate it even more from the 13-inch, but I'll still compare the 256GB storage price for the value comparison. These are the prices before sales, which seem to happen regularly now, especially for the Snapdragon Surface models. So if you pay the extra $100 for the Surface Laptop 13.8-inch over the 13-inch, you'll get 25% more CPU cores, 6% larger display with 13% higher pixel density, possibly 50% more nits of max brightness with HDR, and 120 Hz refresh rates instead of 60, faster NVMe versus UFS storage, front webcam that supports face authentication instead of a fingerprint power button, faster 40 gigabit per second USB 4 ports instead of 10 gigabit per second USB 3.2, plus a dedicated Surface Connect charging port, 8% larger battery but 3 hours less battery life, 39-watt power supply instead of a 45-watt USB-C charger, and a 10% heavier device. So what do you think? Personally, I think the 120 Hz display, dedicated charging port, and faster USB 4 ports would push me toward the larger Surface Laptop 13.8-inch. But as always with these Snapdragon Surface devices, always wait for the frequent sales and be sure you're okay dealing with any software compatibility issues before you buy. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel for more like it. Thanks for watching and have a great day.